Ladies and gentlemen, there's something your doctor may never tell you, something your prescriptions will never whisper, but your body has been trying to say it for years. I am listening to everything you say. That's right, your body listens. And more than that, it obeys. The words you speak, the emotions you nurture, the beliefs you carry, they all form a silent language of healing or destruction. If you understand this one truth today, it could change your health, your peace, even your life. And by the end of this message, you'll know exactly what to say and what to stop saying to begin the healing process. Stay with me. This isn't motivation, it's transformation. Science confirms it. Your body is not a machine separate from your thoughts. It's an echo chamber. The stress you speak becomes cortisol. The peace you choose becomes serotonin. Words are not just air. They are chemical commands. You speak in thoughts, and your body obeys. In biology, when you say, I'm sick, I'm tired, I'm broken, your cells write that into your biology. When you say, I am healing, I am overcoming, I am not done yet, your body hears a new assignment. This isn't just positive thinking. It's a neurological reprogramming. The body is always listening. Holding pain inside doesn't bury it. It plants it. And buried emotions grow into symptoms. Migraines, fatigue, autoimmune flare-ups, not because you're weak, but because your body is crying out. The words your soul is too afraid to speak. Release is the first step to restoration. This doesn't mean you deny the pain. It means you deny it the right to define you. Say, I am healing even if I don't feel it yet. I am safe even when anxiety tries to lie. I will not ignore my body's cry. I will answer it with love, not neglect. Your body is not a machine, it is a listener. It hears every word you say, every belief you silently carry, every emotion you refuse to name. It is not just a vessel, it is a living, breathing participant in the narrative of your life. And the most powerful truth that people often ignore is this. Your body listens to belief, not casually, not occasionally, but constantly, like a loyal servant taking command. And those commands, whether uttered out loud or silently echoed in your mind, become the script your body obeys. Consider this. When you wake up each day and declare, even half-consciously, I'm exhausted, or I don't feel well, your body hears it. It registers those words not just as passing complaints, but as instructions. Your cells, your hormones, your energy centers all begin to align with what they think you want. They're not judging whether you're telling the truth. They're simply obeying. When you say, I can't handle this anymore, your nervous system begins to shut down the resources you need to cope. When you say, I'm broken, your immune system listens and retreats. Not because you're cursed, not because you're weak, but because you've unknowingly become the author of your own physiological reality. This is not mysticism. This is biology. The body doesn't wait for evidence. It responds to instruction. Neuroscience confirms that thoughts repeated with emotion create neurological patterns. These patterns become pathways. Pathways become habits. And over time, the body takes those habits as reality. If you believe with conviction that you are under attack, your body will prepare to defend. Your heart rate will rise. Your muscles will tense. Your adrenaline will flood, even if there is no threat in sight, just a belief. Now imagine what would happen if, instead of feeding your body thoughts of defeat, you fed it thoughts of healing. If you woke up and declared, I am stronger than I feel, or my healing has already begun, your body would not argue. It would follow. Your heartbeat might slow. Your breath might deepen. Your immune cells might surge forward, interpreting your belief as a signal that safety is near, that restoration is possible. Every word is a seed. Every belief is a blueprint. And your body, that incredibly intelligent, intuitive creation, is always building what you tell it to build. So many people walk through life speaking sickness into existence. Not on purpose, not maliciously, but through repetition, through unexamined self-talk, through inherited language of pain, trauma, or fear. They say what they feel without realizing that their words are laying the foundation for tomorrow's health. You are not to blame for the pain you carry. But you do hold the power to shift it. You do have authority over the next words that leave your mouth and the next beliefs you decide to anchor yourself in. Healing does not start with medication. It starts with cooperation. Cooperation between mind and body. And belief is the bridge. When a person decides to believe that healing is possible, not guaranteed, not immediate, but possible, they begin to create new conditions in the body. Hope is not naive. It is catalytic. It creates a chemical cascade. It signals the brain to relax its defenses, to lower inflammation, to prepare for growth. Despair does the opposite. Despair tells the body to freeze, to shrink, to preserve resources in case of collapse. Both are beliefs. Both send messages. Both receive answers from within. So today, ask yourself, what have I been telling my body? Have I been saying over and over, nothing ever changes? I'll never feel better. This is just how it is. If so, your body may be following you into that valley, not because it wants to, but because it trusts you, because it takes your word seriously. But if you decide to speak differently, not fakely, but intentionally, and begin to declare, my body is healing. I am moving forward. I am not stuck forever. You will awaken something ancient and wise within you, the power to heal. Your body listens to belief, not once, not sometimes, but always. So make your belief your medicine, make your words your treatment plan, and speak as if your healing depends on it. Because in more ways than you know, it does. Words are not harmless. They are not empty. They do not simply vanish into the air once spoken. Words are carriers of energy, of intent, of power. Every word you speak leaves a trace. It enters the atmosphere around you, yes, but more importantly, it enters your body. Your nervous system doesn't just interpret words as symbols, it absorbs them like signals, translating them into chemistry, into reactions, into changes you can feel. Sometimes immediately, sometimes over time, but always profoundly. When you say, I'm tired, your body doesn't just hear that as a complaint, it hears it as a command. Your shoulders might slump, your breathing might shallow, your cells begin to match the rhythm of that message. When you say, I'm hopeless, something in you dims. Your endocrine system, the delicate web of hormones that regulate mood, sleep, healing, and resilience, begins to respond accordingly. Words become triggers. Words become blueprints for your biological state. And just as a single harsh word from someone else can sting for days, your own voice, your own narrative, has even more access to your inner world. You are speaking to your body all the time, whether you realize it or not. This is why the energy behind your words matters. Not just what you say, but how you say it, why you say it, and how often you repeat it. Words soaked in fear carry a frequency that disturbs your inner peace. Words anchored in love carry a vibration that calms, soothes, and stabilizes. Think about it. How do you feel when you hear someone sincerely say you are safe versus you're in danger? The difference isn't just psychological, it's physiological. Your heart rate changes, your muscles respond, your immune system adjusts its priorities. That is the power of energy in words. Now, take that concept and apply it to your inner dialogue. The words you speak to yourself, especially in moments of weakness, pain, or fear, are not passive. They are shaping you. If you say to yourself every morning, I hate my body, or I'm never going to get better, your body internalizes that hostility. Healing slows, tension increases, the nervous system braces itself, interpreting your words as a threat, even if it's from your own mouth. You become both the attacker and the attacked. And over time, that constant inner war creates fatigue, anxiety, inflammation, and dysfunction. But what happens when you shift the language? When you say, even in a whisper, my body is doing its best, or healing is slow, but it's happening, you shift the energy. The body hears those words and responds with softening, with hope, with release. The tension in your chest begins to melt. Your breath returns to rhythm, your heart stops racing, all from a sentence. All from a single energetic shift in language. This isn't magic. It's the incredible design of the human mind-body connection. Your brain is wired to respond to language, and your body follows the cues the brain gives. This means you are not helpless. You are not a prisoner of your symptoms. You are a communicator. And what you choose to communicate, especially to yourself, determines what kind of energy your body will live in. You must begin to treat your words like medicine or poison. You must take responsibility for the energy they carry, not just when you speak to others, but especially when you speak to yourself. The body remembers what the mind repeats, and the repetition of negative words plants seeds of decay, while the repetition of compassionate, hopeful words plants seeds of repair. Start small. Instead of saying, I'm falling apart, try, I'm having a hard moment, but I'm still standing. Instead of, I'm never going to feel normal again, try, I am giving my body time to recover. These shifts may feel subtle, even awkward at first, but the energy behind them is real, and your body will know the difference. You may not feel the change overnight, but keep going, because over time your nervous system will begin to expect gentleness. Your muscles will begin to unwind. Your immune system will stop living in crisis mode. And healing, slowly but surely, will begin to move. Words carry energy. That energy flows into your blood, your breath, your heartbeat. Speak with the same care you would use to treat a wounded child, because deep down your body is that child, vulnerable, loyal, and listening to every syllable. Speak life, speak peace, speak strength, and your body will echo back exactly what it hears. There is a pain that doesn't bleed, a wound that leaves no visible mark. It doesn't scream. It doesn't call attention to itself. It hides in the body, quietly, patiently, like smoke behind a closed door. This is the pain we never speak, the grief we never name, the anger we suppress, the fear we disguise as strength. It is the pain that is tucked away, denied, pushed aside in the name of endurance or survival. But what you refuse to speak, your body never forgets. What the mind buries, the body absorbs. And over time, the body becomes the voice of the soul's silence. Trauma is not always born from dramatic events. Sometimes it's created in the small daily moments of being ignored, rejected, unheard, or unseen. Sometimes it's in the shame we carry from childhood. Sometimes it's in the betrayal we pretend didn't happen. It lives in the heartbreak we tell ourselves to get over. And when we do not process that pain, when we refuse to give it a voice, it does not disappear. It settles. It finds a place to live in the body, in the tension in your shoulders, in the knot in your stomach, in the migraines that come from nowhere, in the fatigue that no amount of sleep can fix. Unspoken pain is undigested trauma. It's emotional debris that never passed through the system and instead lingers in your muscles, your cells, your nervous system. Your body becomes a storage unit for what your heart was too overwhelmed to express. And it will stay there until you listen, until you give it permission to speak in words rather than in symptoms. So many people spend years treating their physical ailments, never realizing that beneath their diagnosis lies a history of suppressed emotion. Not because they are weak, not because they are making it up, but because the body will always find a way to express what the mouth cannot. If you were never taught to express sadness, it might manifest as chronic fatigue. If you were never allowed to show anger, it might show up as autoimmune flare-ups. If you lived in fear for years, your nervous system might stay locked in fight or flight long after the danger has passed. And this is the tragedy. We are taught to treat the body like a machine, but it is not a machine. It is a story, and every story that goes untold in your mind finds a voice somewhere in your body. This is why true healing begins not with a pill, not with a quick fix, but with honesty. It begins when you stop hiding from yourself, when you sit in the stillness and say, what have I been carrying that I've never said out loud? The moment you ask that, the body sighs because it finally feels heard. Healing doesn't come from pretending. It comes from truth, from peeling back the layers and confronting the parts of your past or present that still ache, from allowing yourself to cry without shame, from letting the scream you swallowed years ago rise and release. This isn't about being dramatic. It's about being whole. It's about understanding that silence is not strength when it comes at the cost of your health. The body is not your enemy. It is your witness. It is your messenger. It is not punishing you with symptoms. It is pleading with you to look deeper, to stop numbing, to stop distracting, to stop performing wellness. While pain rots underneath, it's asking for one thing: acknowledge. And when you start to speak, even in private, even if your voice trembles, something begins to shift. The body no longer has to shout through illness. It doesn't need to tighten and lock up. It doesn't have to hold your secrets for you. It can release, it can soften. Because now you are doing the one thing it has longed for all along, giving your truth a voice. So ask yourself gently, what pain have I buried? What memory still tightens my chest when I think about it? What emotion have I silenced for so long that I forgot how it even felt? Go there, carefully, slowly, with compassion. And then speak, not to anyone else if you're not ready, but to yourself, to your journal, to the mirror, to your God. Just speak, because what remains unspoken becomes the body's burden. And when you free the truth, you free the body. Your pain deserves to be heard. Your story deserves to be released. And your body deserves to live unburdened by the silence that was never yours to carry forever. Healing is not something that happens to you, it's something that happens through you. It's not only the medicine you take, the therapy you attend, or the treatment you receive. All of those are valuable. But beneath every healing journey lies something deeper. A quiet decision, a powerful turning point where you agree with your own restoration. That moment is everything. Is when your mind stops fighting your body, when your words begin to nurture instead of sabotage, and when your emotions finally align with the belief that healing is not only possible, it's already underway. That alignment is what I call inner agreement. And that agreement is where self-healing truly begins. Most people never realize that they've been arguing with themselves for years. They want to heal, but they speak defeat. They desire peace, but rehearse pain. They pray for strength, but constantly say, I'm so weak. This isn't a matter of blame, it's a matter of conflict. The mind is running one script, the body is running another, and the soul is caught in the middle. Healing cannot flourish in inner warfare. It cannot grow in an atmosphere of contradiction. It requires a unified environment, a place where your thoughts, words, and emotions begin to speak the same language. And what is that language? It is the language of faith, of compassion, of gentle authority over your own experience. It's not blind optimism. It's not pretending you're okay when you're not. It's the deeper, braver act of saying, this hurts, but I will not surrender to it. It's the kind of belief that doesn't deny the diagnosis, but refuses to be defined by it. When you speak that way, when your words echo your desire to heal, your body listens. It feels the shift. It senses that something inside has changed, and it begins to respond. This is why the mind matters. This is why your beliefs matter. Your body cannot heal while your thoughts declare war. If you constantly speak failure over yourself, your healing will stall, not because your body is incapable, but because it is confused. It is trying to obey two masters, your fear and your hope, and it cannot serve both. Inner agreement means choosing hope deliberately. It means waking up every day and affirming the truth you want to live in, even if your circumstances haven't changed yet. And it's not just words, it's also emotions. If your heart is still clinging to resentment, shame, or despair, those emotions send signals to your nervous system that say we are not safe. And when the body doesn't feel safe, it does not heal. It guards, it contracts, it protects. But when you begin to let go of those heavy emotions, not by force, but by honesty and patience, you make space inside yourself for restoration. You send a message to your body. The war is over. We are on the same team now. That is inner agreement. That is the turning point. And when it happens, healing doesn't always look dramatic, but it is unmistakable. You may begin to sleep better. You may breathe deeper. Your appetite may return. Your fatigue may lift. Your immune system may stabilize. These are not miracles outside of you. They are miracles rising from within, from a body that finally feels supported, believed in, and loved. Too often, people look for healing in external places while still holding internal chaos. They chase every new remedy but never address the way they speak to themselves. They seek peace but carry bitterness. They want light but repeat the darkness. And healing waits, not because it is far away, but because it needs permission to begin. That permission comes when you agree with it, when you declare, not with arrogance, but with intention, I am not my pain. I am not my past. I am healing, even if I don't see it yet. Inner agreement is the foundation of every lasting recovery. It is the unseen shift that unlocks visible change, and it is available to you right now. You don't have to earn it. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to stop arguing with your own healing. You just have to say yes, fully, completely, and without shame, to the possibility that your body can recover, your mind can renew, and your soul can return to peace. Say it. Feel it. Mean it. Let every part of you point in the same direction. Because once you are in agreement with your healing, you will no longer be fighting against yourself. you will be walking with yourself, hand in hand, toward wholeness. And that, more than anything else, is where the journey truly begins. Your body is a sacred messenger. It is always speaking, always signaling, always revealing what the deeper layers of your soul might be too weary or afraid to say. The aches, the tightness, the fatigue, the illness, none of it is random. None of it is accidental. These are not flaws in your design. They are forms of communication. They are warning lights, inner signals meant to draw your attention to something that has been overlooked, buried, or avoided. And the tragedy is not that the body signals. The tragedy is that we so often ignore it. We silence it with distraction, numb it with routine, or label it as weakness. And when we ignore what's happening within, it eventually erupts without. The body always finds a way to be heard. How many times have you told yourself it's nothing when your chest felt heavy with anxiety? How often have you dismissed the tension in your jaw, the lump in your throat, the sudden exhaustion that seems to flood you when you enter a certain room or speak to a certain person? These are not coincidences. These are not quirks. These are signals. Your body has a language, a brilliant, intuitive language, and it uses it to tell you what your conscious mind cannot yet process. The stomach ache after betrayal, the migraine before a confrontation, the back pain that won't go away when your life feels burdened beyond what your heart can carry. These are not separate from your story. They are part of it. Yet we've been trained to override these messages. Push through, they say. Get over it. Don't be dramatic. And so we do. We push, we numb, we suppress, we ignore. Until one day, what was a whisper becomes a scream. What was a tension becomes a breakdown. What was an emotional signal becomes a physical condition. The body will always compensate for what the heart cannot express. And if you refuse to feel it mentally, you will begin to carry it physically. This is not about blame. It's about awareness. It's about waking up to the truth that your body is not trying to betray you. It's trying to protect you. Pain is not your enemy. It is your alarm system. It's the red flashing light saying something in your life, your thoughts, your past, your choices, is out of alignment. Pay attention. And the sooner you listen, the more gently your body can guide you back into balance. But the longer you ignore it, the more intense the symptoms become. Not out of punishment, but because your body is trying harder to get your attention. You cannot ignore what your body is begging you to face. If you are constantly tired, don't just drink more coffee, ask what is draining your soul. If you are always tense, don't just get a massage. Ask what you're holding on to so tightly. If you are sick again and again, don't just treat the symptoms. Ask what unresolved story might still be living inside of you. Healing does not come from silencing the alarm. It comes from finding the fire and putting it out at its source. Sometimes the most powerful act of healing begins not with doing more, but with pausing and listening. Listening to the subtle ways your body responds to your choices, the way it reacts to certain people, the way it feels after certain thoughts, the way it softens when you tell the truth. Your body is not broken. It is beautifully intelligent, and it is asking you to pay attention, not just to the pain, but to the cause. The truth is, your body can endure much. It is built for survival. But healing is not the same as surviving. Healing requires presence. It requires honesty. It requires you to look inward and ask, what am I not dealing with that needs to be dealt with? What am I avoiding? What is the cost of this silence? Because every ignored signal builds up. Every emotional wound that goes unacknowledged becomes physical weight you carry. And no medication, no treatment, no external solution can replace the need to look within. So today, start small. Start with curiosity. What is your body trying to tell you? Where does it hurt? And what emotion might live there? What patterns do you see between your stress and your symptoms? Be brave enough to look, gentle enough to accept, and wise enough to respond. Because your body has been speaking to you all along. And when you stop ignoring the signal, you begin to answer the invitation, not just to treat the symptoms, but to finally heal the cause. Your body is sacred, not just in function, but in wisdom. It holds intelligence that transcends language, a knowing that speaks long before words ever form. Every sensation, every ache, every flutter of unease or tightness of breath is part of a deeply intelligent system trying to guide you, protect you, and awaken you. These are not random discomforts. They are warning lights, signals, sacred messages. They are the body's way of saying something needs your attention. Yet too often, we miss them. Not because we're careless, but because we've been conditioned to treat the body like a machine, something to manage, silence, or override when it becomes inconvenient. But your body is not a machine. It is a messenger, and every signal it sends is meaningful. That tight chest may be the voice of anxiety you've buried for years. The sudden fatigue might be a boundary you keep crossing. The recurring pain in your lower back might carry the weight of grief you never gave yourself permission to feel. These symptoms are not just physical. They are emotional, spiritual, psychological calls for alignment. The longer you treat them as enemies, the longer you delay the healing they are trying to offer. We live in a world that tells us to keep going no matter what. Take a pill, power through, don't complain, just smile. And so we do. We ignore the pounding headache, dismiss the racing heartbeat, push past the stomach knot that arrives every time we say yes when we mean no. But the body never lies. It remembers everything the mind tries to forget. And when you don't listen, it speaks louder. First with whispers, then with symptoms, then with breakdown. Not out of cruelty, but out of love. Out of insistence. Because your body's on your side, even when it's hurting. To ignore the body's warning lights is to silence your most faithful ally. Healing does not come to those who push through pain with denial. It comes to those who pause, who listen, who ask, what is this trying to tell me? That act of listening is not just a moment of mindfulness. It is a return to yourself. A reconnection with a part of you that has always been watching, always been waiting to be heard. When you begin to listen, something shifts. The body no longer needs to scream. The signals begin to soften. The tension eases. The symptoms become less frantic, less desperate. Because finally, you are responding. You are no longer at war with yourself. You are cooperating with your body's attempt to find balance. There is no healing without listening, no restoration without awareness. You can flood your body with supplements, treatments, and solutions, but if you don't address the root message behind the pain will return. It's not enough to treat the surface. You must go to the source. And the source is often not outside of you. It is inside. In the memories you've repressed, the feelings you've silenced, the needs you denied, the truth you've been too afraid to speak. To listen is to honor, to say, this matters, you matter. What you feel is not too much. It is not inconvenient. It is information. It is sacred. Because your body is not here to punish you. It is here to protect you. Even when it hurts, especially when it hurts. Pain is not the problem. avoidance is. Restoration comes not in the instant relief of symptoms, but in the steady return to honesty, to gentleness, to compassion. When you listen to your body, you begin to remember what it's like to feel safe inside your own skin, to trust your own signals, to care for yourself not as a chore, but as an act of reverence. You don't need to understand everything today. You don't need all the answers, but you do need to listen. To pause long enough to ask, what have I been ignoring? And to have the courage to hear the answer, because when you listen, truly listen, healing begins, not from outside, but from within. Not just in the body, but in the soul. That is the restoration your body is longing for. And it starts the moment you treat your symptoms, not as threats, but as sacred messages finally being heard. Today, give your body something new to believe in, a new sentence, a new story. Because healing doesn't start with a pill. It starts with permission. And sometimes the most powerful medicine is a single sentence said with belief. I am ready to heal, and I will not ignore myself any longer. Say it. Mean it. Your body is listening.